Alright, g'day, hi, and welcome. Okay, welcome to the first edition of, what am I going to call this thing? Cooking with Raj, Doomer Cooker, whatever. Anyway, what I'm going to be making today is mozzarella. But I'm going to try it, there's a couple of ways you can do this. I'm going to try it with skim powdered milk. I don't know if it's going to work or not. This is my first attempt, so if it works, it works. If it doesn't, well, we'll see. Now, here's what you're going to need. You're obviously going to need a measuring cup. You're going to need a tablespoon, some salt, some powdered milk, or you can use regular milk. Just substitute one for the other. I'm doing it to use up this old stuff. Some vinegar, a pot. You're going to need that pot because it'll get very messy if you don't have a pot. And then a strainer, and if you have a cheesecloth, you use a cheesecloth. I will be using the paper towel. So, the recipe is pretty straightforward. Mozzarella. Cup of powdered milk, which I'll use the whole thing there. If you want to write this down, yeah, this might be a good idea. Now's the time to write that because I'll give you the recipe first. A cup of powdered milk, cup of water. Heat, dissolve it in the water. Heat it till it's about till your finger. Heat the water till the finger just about till you, not right to boil, but just okay. You can stick your finger in there, but any hotter, it's like it's going to be scalding. Teaspoon of vinegar. Allow it to curdle. Might take a few minutes. Then strain it out. Then 1 tablespoon of salt. Mix it around until it's nice and thick. And then rinse it 3 times in the water. Squeeze out the water every time you rinse it. Then let it cool in the fridge for an hour. So it's a pretty straightforward recipe. Hopefully I don't mess it up. But it should be interesting. And yeah, let's get to it. Okay, there we go. So I'm going to add my cup of water. There we go. Got my cup of water in there. That's all I need the cup for. I'm going to put this on max. And we'll let it just get warm. Take a minute or two. Then once it's warm enough, I'll stick my finger in it. And yeah, there we go. Okay, so I'm gonna stick my. Yeah, it's about as hot as I want it. Now I'm gonna take my my powdered milk, and I'm going to mix it in there. I'm just going to throw it in, the whole cup, and mix it good so that it, get all of it in there. Get some of that. Break it up really good. And I don't want it to boil. I just want it hot. To break it up now. It might be a little bit too much water for the powdered milk. That's about what you would have in regular milk in there. So if you were using regular milk, same recipe. Just the only difference is you're using actual milk instead of powdered milk. And some of the powdered milk smells like powdered milk. A lot of people in the prepping community use powdered milk for some reason, because it stores long, right? That would probably be the reason. So I'm going to wash this stuff out. I want it to boil, so I just want it to break down. I'll show you that. I'll just break it down. Get the measuring cup out of the way and my spoon. Yeah, I'm ready for the next go, so I'll show you what it looks like. The goal here is, again, just to kind of dissolve all the powdered milk. So if you weren't using powdered milk, you would have regular milk with 1 cup of water, and you would have the same thing. There we go. So now, my next thing to add will be 1 tablespoon of vinegar. Sure, this is all good. Over here. For now, just till that kind of cools down a bit. That should be okay. That should be okay. So now what we're going to do, okay, we grab our vinegar. And this is where it's going to curdle it, so. And put 1 tablespoon of vinegar. Take our tablespoon. Don't do much more than that. Good, we'll drop it in. Oh, instant curdle. You can see where it's going to curdle. Then what we'll do, mix it in there. Just going to leave it for a bit till it curdles. And hopefully that's enough in there. Mix that up. So that should start to curdle. And yeah, I'll wait a little bit. So it's mixed in there. You can already see it kind of working its magic, where it's curdling it just a tad bit. So we'll wait a little bit, and if I have to add a little bit more, I'll add a little bit more. I don't want to add too much. You can see there's curdling there. It's curdling a little bit there. So yeah, there we go. So I'll let that curdle for a bit, and then I'll show you when it's done. All right, so I had to use I had to use a lot more vinegar than I wanted to, but yeah, it's curdled. We'll call that curdled. So the powdered milk, I guess, doesn't curdle quite as well as regular milk, but I guess it's the time to strain it. So hopefully this will work. That's not what I wanted to do. Like that, we'll let it strain. Then we'll put our pot back here. Obviously the stove is off. So let that strain a bit. And yeah, so the next thing is, after it strains a bit, maybe I got a little bit too much that'll take a minute or two to strain. The next will be to add a tablespoon of salt. So I'll clean off my tablespoon, but yeah, I curdled it. It took a lot more vinegar than I thought to curdle it, and that's okay, I guess. That's okay. I don't know if I actually needed that, but again, first time making it, so the next couple of times I strain it, I'm almost done. Next is add a tablespoon of salt. Rinse it in hot water 3 times. Squeeze out the water each time, and then throw it in the fridge. And then hopefully that'll. So we'll let that kind of. We'll just do that. Let it strain. What I'm doing is getting it down to the curdled stuff. Then I can remove this, I think, completely, because that's straining very, very slowly. So yeah, so anyway, I'll get it back into the pot, and I'll rinse it. I'll do all that stuff. Strain it, rinse it, strain it, rinse it, strain it, rinse it, and then throw it in the fridge. There we go. All right, so there we go. So I pulled the little paper towel out of it so that I could get it going. So there's actually more there than I thought. So what I'm gonna do now is rinse it with some warm water, not too much. I don't want to lose it all, so just take some of the stuff off of it. I will now put it back in the pot, and I will now clean off my spoon. Back out. Just leave that spoon there, and I'll grab another one. Why? Because I'm a professional. So, brand new dandy clean spoon. I'm gonna grab my 8-year-old salt, and I will take a tablespoon of salt. Not quite a heaping. Let's throw that on there. A lot of salt. It's probably too much for what I got there, but this might be more like pickle cheese than anything. And then I'm gonna just kind of mix it around. Yeah, it's more like curdles right now. I'll mix that around. Then what I'm gonna do is I gotta squeeze all the water out of it. Right now I'm just mixing it around so that the salt makes it a little bit tacky. I think I should have put a lot less salt in it. But this is from powdered milk, so this is going to be interesting no matter what way it comes out. So anyway, now I'm going to do is I'm going to take my shirt off because I'm going to have to get my hands there. Oh, I can't take my shirt off. I don't have another shirt on there. I got to roll up my sleeves. Boy, am I prepared. So I'm going to get this going again. I'm going to rinse it 3 more times in the hot water, and not scalding hot. I get my strainer over here so that captures the strainer well, and then yeah, so what I'm gonna do is dump all this back in. Feels like cheese. Get all that stuff in there. Don't want to miss any of it, right? So dump that over there like so. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take it, and I'm going to make instead of turning it into curds, squeeze all that out. Not very much cheese from the powdered milk, that's for sure. But, you know, this is more just about trying it. So, do that. So, do that a little bit more. Could have mixed it a little bit more, but squeeze all that out. Rinse it again. See, this is more like I'll try it with the I'm squeezing it out there. Yes, get as much out of there as possible. That's one more time. Not going to be very much cheese here, but squish all that out. And yeah, that's about it, I guess. That's, again, this is from powdered milk, so you don't get very much from powdered milk, so it doesn't look the most appetizing, gotta say. Get more of that in there. Squeeze a little more in there. There we go. So there we go. Now if I wanted to really make it look cool, I could put it in something and shape it, but I'll leave it like that. So now I'm going to let it cool in the fridge for about an hour, and then we'll come back, have a look, and we'll have a taste and see if it's edible. It might be, it might not be. Does it look like cheese? It doesn't look like cheese, but technically by the everything I've done, it's cheese. That's my first time making cheese. So cheese from powdered, it's a mozzarella, so from skim milk too, so who knows what the flavor is going to be like. But anyway, I'll throw this into the fridge again. Doesn't look like much, but for all use, I used a lot of vinegar just to get that consistency. The next time I make it, I'll make it with real milk, and we should see what we get with that. So I'll now throw that in the fridge and let it sit for an hour, and then we'll see what happens. All right, there we go. So that's the finished product. It doesn't look like much. It's not bad. Might have put a little bit. It's actually quite mild, actually. It's. Let me take another taste of it. I don't want to eat it all now. Had it in the fridge a little over an hour now. There's a piece of it. Not bad at all. Because it was powdered milk, it probably going to need a little bit more time in the fridge. They say an hour. I'll leave it in. Well, I'm just going to leave it in the fridge anyway. So I'd maybe wait an hour and a half, 2 hours before you tie into it. It's more like a feta cheese than a. It's like tastes more like a cheese curd than a feta cheese. I had a hint of vinegar in there. I used I guess because the powdered cheese. Ah, watch your. Hey, my girl. The powdered cheese. Oh, sorry, powdered cheese. The powdered milk. Powdered skim milk. Basically, you can tell that's like it's not solid. So, and that'd probably make good curds. It'd probably make good for a patin. That would definitely. Yeah, I had used a lot more vinegar in it. I probably used like
10 teaspoons of vinegar to get it to curdle. So there's a hint of vinegar in there. I thought that being, because I got, like, that was basically a full cup, measuring cup, or a small mason jar. And I thought, okay, well, because you didn't get very much out of it once you strained it, thought, well, maybe that 1 tablespoon of salt would be too much, but I could barely taste the salt, so that's good. The salt kind of like keeps it hardens it up a bit. I don't know if I'd want to put any more salt in that. It's very, very good. So we'll see how it goes over, like, by tomorrow morning, if it's really thick, if there's any left. I will make some with fresh milk just to see the difference. But yeah, I think you have to use the vinegar, use it sparingly, but like, it seemed that I couldn't get it to curdle quite as much. So if I would have put a little bit more vinegar in it, I would have got more curdle, but then you'd get maybe too much of a vinegary taste. That's not vinegary, and that was about 10 instead of 1 tablespoon of vinegar. That was about 10, and I was like kind of like sprinkling around so I'd get as much curdle in there as possible. Otherwise, you just kind of like you're wasting a lot. So if you went half cup of like sprinkled in a half cup of vinegar. That might be too much vinegar, but I think because it's just a hint of vinegar, it's not too much. So yeah, so next time what I'm going to do is like triple the amount of powdered milk to the 1 cup of water, just so I can get more out of it, and it'll probably thicken it up a bit more, make it easier to work with. And it might hold to, like, that there is, like I say, it's enough that you can say it's together, but it's not like your normal store-bought mozzarella cheese. But that is pretty good. Like, that is pretty good. Like, I'm very proud of myself today. Anyway, there we go. I will have the recipe on my blogger as well. The link will be down below, and the pictures and stuff like that. So if you want to try it yourself, the next time I try it, it was very easy to make, very quick to make. If you want to try it yourself with the regular milk, it'd probably do better. But I'll try it with the milk, and I'll do a total separate recipe on that. And yeah, there we go. Done. So all you people that have powdered milk, you can actually make cheese, with powdered milk. There we go. And like I say, the vinegar wasn't too much that I did. That's what I was worried about. I was worried about because I got so little out of it, that I would get too much vinegar taste in there and too much salt taste in there. But I can't even taste the salt, hardly at all. And so tablespoon of salt was okay. But I needed about 10 tablespoons of vinegar, and just kind of sprinkled it around so I could get the most curdle out of it. With the regular milk, we'll see how that works. Hopefully 1 tablespoon. Maybe I could have let it sit longer too. That could have been the other problem, is I didn't maybe let it sit long enough. But yeah, there we go. So success. Have yourselves a great day, eh?